The following is an exclusive presentation of WI Garden Media, celebrating 10 years of being the voice of Garden Talk Radio. Coming up on the program today, we're going to discuss how mulch is your friend, as well as the world of honey. Our guest is author and podcaster Jill McSheehy will be with us, and will answer your garden questions. The hour is full, so join us.
You are listening to the most informationally packed hour of garden-focused radio in the country and on the internet with your host, husband and wife team Joey and Holly Baird. This is the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
And welcome to another edition of the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. So happy you've chose us to spend a little bit of time today enjoying the program. I'm your host, Joey Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
This program is for you, about you, to help your garden grow better, to maintain your landscape, grow healthier trees, make your grass look greener, as well as preserving what you grow. Happy you're tuning in, whether you're doing such on one of the 41 AM and FM frequencies broadcasting our program here in 2026, season 10, whether you're listening through our parent website, which is the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, underneath the season 10 tab at the top of the page, podcast replay, or in-studio video replay. Thank you so much for choosing us. If you want to be part of the program, you can do such by sending us an email to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com, or you can give us a call anytime, toll free, coast to coast, at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. If you want to find more information about the coupon codes and the sponsors and the communication avenues, again, our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com. Before we get in the program, Holly, it's time for this week's joke of the week.
Okay, in honor of it almost being spring, why can't the flower ride his bike?
I'm going to say it doesn't have petals?
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't have petals?
Yeah.
But a flower has, the flower has petals,
yeah,
doesn't
but
it?
he lost his petals.
Oh, he's lost it because he's lost his
Yeah,
petals.
yeah.
Okay.
So you were close.
All right.
This week's garden joke is brought to you by Rescue.com. American-made rescue products keep your family, home, and yard protected from pests such as wasps, hornets, yellow jackets, flies, ants, and more. Learn more at Rescue.com. That's RESCUE.com.
Don't you lose your petals, and if you ride your bike, wear a helmet.
I
right.
agree. Yeah.
Let's talk about mulch. Mulch is your friend in the garden. Now, there is many different types of mulches in which you can certainly purchase or you have available on your property. We're going to talk about natural mulches. We're not going to talk about rubber tire mulch or synthetic mulches. There are gravel mulches as well, but that is not applicable for the edible garden world. Works great in rose beds, flower beds, along the house if you've got pea gravel or larger stones of some sort of unique characteristics in them. Works wonderful. We're going to focus on the materials in which are biodegradable, I guess is the better word. They break down. Let's put it that way. So let's start with straw. Straw is the stalks of the plants in which are grown for grain. Oat straw, barley straw, wheat straw. You want to avoid hay. Hay is not your friend here. Hay is the grasses that are grown for the consumption for animals. It contains grasses and seeds.
Yeah, I was going to say, why don't we talk about why? But it's because it contains grasses and seeds. So then if you bring that into your garden, you're adding more seeds.
And the potential of chemicals being sprayed on those plants to kill weeds, not the clovers or the fescues or whatever that particular ideal farmer grass in which they or plant life they want for animal consumption.
Now, don't feel bad if you didn't know this, because I didn't know this until after I met Joey, probably.
Right.
I didn't know the difference between hay and straw.
Right.
And I thought they were the same thing. I thought they just
you're not a farm person, so and you don't have cattle or anything, so it wouldn't be something that would it wouldn't be something that would mean anything. Why would you know that?
Right.
Yeah.
But I think like when we were generically talking about hay or straw, we would say straw bales,
right? Not
hay bales. So straw is the more common
term.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. Or, maybe I did know that hay was what you fed animals. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway.
Didn't you have a rabbit?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was my sister's rabbit. His name was Benny.
Benny.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe more time for stories later. Grass clippings. You can certainly use grass clippings that you're getting out of your lawn. Now, there is some things you want to be aware of here. If you fed your lawn or you feed your lawn with a weed and feed, do not do this. Leave the grasses in the yard. The reason being that weed and feed has a persistent herbicide, right? Yeah. That it is designed to kill the broadleaf plants, your lamb's quarters, your dandelions, those plants, and it keeps the grass green and kills those plants. So it is such a persistent chemical that when you bag that grass clippings up, compost it, turn it into black soil, put it in your garden, put it in your flower pots, put it in your bean containers. It is still active, and these plants, your tomatoes, your eggplants, your potatoes, your green beans, are all broadleaf plants, and they will react negatively. They will get curled up. They will not grow right. And it takes years of remitigation in order for that soil a lot of times has to be extracted and new soil brought in. There are ways of doing this with nematodes and exposing the soil to oxygen and air in order to kill this off or work this out of the soil. But just don't do it up front, and saves a lot of time, effort, energy. You look up killer compost. We'll have Joe Lampo on the program in a couple of weeks, and he went through all of that. Wood chips.
So let's talk about wood chips. So there's a lot of people think that wood chips are bad for the garden, for the vegetable garden, not necessarily like the flower garden, but they feel that they will draw, not that flowers don't need nitrogen, but
wood chips don't draw nitrogen.
Right. But that's the myth.
Yeah, the myth is, we can't do that because it's bad.
Yeah, unless they are incorporated into
right.
it. So when used as a mulch, they have no effect on the underlying soil nitrogen levels, except to it could increase them over time. So what you want to do is just, you can mix them in a little bit, but if you
perennial bed.
Right, you could do perennial bed. Also, you could just do it in regular garden bed. That's not a problem.
But the problem is a regular annual vegetable garden bed. You're planting green beans this year, peppers next year, potatoes. You're going to dig that and disrupt that soil, and then wood chips are going to fall in. So asparagus bed, a raspberry bed, a blackberry bed, rhubarb, something in which you can utilize 2 or 4 inches of mulch or walk paths.
I was just going to say a walk path. If you have, access to mulch or wood chip mulch and you want to, utilize it, those are some good options. Perennial bed, the walk path, etc. Especially because walking on straw, when it gets wet, it's very slippery. Very slick. Wood chips do a better job for lining those paths.
Now, we'll talk about shredded paper and pine needles in a moment here, but I want to focus on the aspect and the importance of why would you want to use mulch. Mulch protects the soil. It holds retention of moisture. It suppresses some weeds. It's not a weed barrier. It slows down weed seeds, which can lay dormant in your soil for up to 80 years based on the type of seed. Temperature reduction studies have shown that a 3-inch layer of wood chips or bark can keep the soil 20 degrees cooler in the extreme sun in the hot summer day, and some studies have compared to 40-degree comparison to bare soil. So keeping bark can keep the soil 20 degrees cooler. Extreme sun conditions can see a difference of up to 40 degrees compared to bare soil. A 2 to 4 inch thick layer. Now, this is not applicable. This is the same for all mulch, but some layers need to be thicker if you're doing straw, grass clippings, shredded leaves, pine needles, shredded paper. Whatever you're doing, there is going to be a significant difference in heat of the soil under the mulch versus bare soil. Why is that important? Plants do want some warmth, but a plant can do much better in most instances if the temperature is between 70 and 80 versus 95 to 110.
Well, there you go. I agree. The mulch does help with keeping the soil cool. There's so many different benefits, and I don't really know why you wouldn't use mulch aside from the fact that maybe you just don't think you have access or can find an easy way to incorporate
or
the garden.
Or may not understand how beneficial it is.
Yeah.
And then, like, if you're using, we talked about the breakdown of the wood chips, straw, chemical seed-free grass clippings. If you have a lot of leaves, they will break down and feed the soil. Now, it's pine needles take a long time to break down. They are acidic as the pine needle sets in your hand, but once it breaks down over time, it neutralizes and doesn't affect your pH level. None of these types of mulches have a correlation to, it is this type of pH. I'm going to put it on the soil and it will affect the soil's pH in due time. We've heard this over and over again on social media for years. Pine needles make the soil acidic. So pine needles, we will grow something acidic, like blueberries in the area. That's not the case. That's not how this works. It's fun to pretend like it's science, but it's not factual.
Right. That's very true. And that's another thing is that people get all sorts of information, especially now, because there's so many people out there putting information.
What can I say to get clicks? What can I get to get views?
And I just want to let everybody keep that in mind, that you should use trusted resources and make sure that you are...
What would be a trusted resource?
You can use any university extension. So especially if it's somewhere within your region.
Right. Oklahoma State University.
Right.
Ohio State University.
Like
something
if it ends
like
in .edu.
Right. Wisconsin State University. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Those are good. Any sort of master gardener situation.
Now, if you search for X term or thing, and you got 17 different sources and they all say the same thing, but one says something different, and that one is a university extension office, you might want to pay attention to that, because what happens on those other ones, somebody, that's a good thing, copy paste, I'll put it on my blog, and
that's the thing, is that a lot of people do this for clicks. Also, if you go look at somebody's blog or even their social media and they have just a ton of followers and they have like 1 or 2 viral videos, I mean, I don't know how credited that is, right? So I would just make sure you stick to the facts and utilize the best resources.
When we share stuff with you, yes, we do our due diligence to confirm that what we are sharing is accurate. And there are times with not just us, but any garden radio host, that they get things wrong. So as a listener, you can take it for face value, or like people do at church, they'll listen to the preacher, write it down, go home and make sure what the preacher says is right. Double check us. Verify with what we're saying. We'll give you the avenue. You take that information and verify it before you use it in your particular garden. Well, when we return, we're going to discuss the world of honey.
You're tuned into the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
MyRootmaker.com has the tools to start your plants off right and keep them growing through harvest. From their seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots, to their large variety of grow bags, 1 to 60 gallons. Get the harvest you've never seen before. Visit MyRootmaker.com and use coupon code RADIO26 to save 10% off your order at MyRootmaker.com.
We are rediscovering the power of common milkweed, named after the Greek god of healing Asclepius. Milkweed was used for many discomforts throughout history. Not surprisingly, the ancient wisdom holds true. Milkweed balm helps relieve pain and restore mobility naturally. Pure plant-based relief for aching joints, nerves, and muscles. Experience the healing power of nature. Try milkweed balm today. Use code GARDENING for 20% off your order at milkweedbalm.com. Azure Standard is America's premier family-owned online store for organic foods and healthy products for your home and garden. They deliver directly to families and businesses through more than 3,500 drop points across all 50 states, making it easy to get everything you need in one simple pickup. As a natural health food distributor, Azure brings bulk and specialty items to communities nationwide. They offer more than 12,000 products that meet their clean ingredient standards, high quality, non-GMO, organic, and naturally sourced. You'll find everything from groceries, health and beauty items, and household essentials to nutritional supplements, animal care, hobby supplies, and even gardening products. Simply put, Azure Standard has something for just about every part of daily living. Visit azurestandard.com and use promo code JoeyandHolly15 at checkout to get 15% off your first order of $100 or more when you open a new account and ship to the drop location of your choice. Visit azurestandard.com. It's AZURE standard.com. Azure Standard is doing a giveaway for the month of March with the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. This giveaway will include $30 worth of Azure Husbandry organic garden seeds. It'll also include Azure brand Ellie's Eden liquid kelp, a 32-ounce bottle, Azure brand Ellie's Eden liquid fish fertilizer, a 32-ounce bottle as well. The total value of the giveaway is $50. You can find out more at azurestandard.com.
To sign up for the giveaway for the month of March, which the drawing will be April 6th, send an email to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. In the subject line, put "Enter Me." And in the body copy, we'll need your name and state. Please do this with an active account. If you are the winner and do not respond in 1 week, we will go to the next winner. This giveaway is open to those who live in the lower 48 contiguous United States.
Working in your home office can be such a drag without the correct furniture. An adjustable and ergonomic chair and desk can make a huge difference. The E7 Pro standing desk allows you to adjust your work platform whether you are sitting or want to stand. Adjust your work platform from 25 inches off the ground to 51.5 inches smoothly with a simple touch of a button. The E7 Pro frame supports a wide range of desktop sizes, widths from 47.2 inches to 80 inches and depths from 24 inches to 35 inches, and offers a variety of desktop material options. It also has a maximum weight capacity of 440 pounds, making it sturdy and durable. Why would you want a standing desk? Breaking up your workday by standing to work benefits you by reducing back and neck pain, improving posture, boosting mood, and increasing energy. Enjoy a 15-year warranty and 30-day risk-free return service for your peace of mind. To get your E7 Pro desk, visit flexispot.com and use code YTE730 to get $30 off the E7 Pro desk. David J. Frank, Southeastern Wisconsin's leading landscape company, is a landscaper you need. Their award-winning services include everything from lawn care, landscape maintenance, design, construction, renovation, irrigation, sustainability, and more. Big or small, let the experts at David J. Frank handle the hard work for you. Find out more at davidjfrank.com.
If you could double the life of your raised bed boxes by sealing the wood with a clear, non-toxic wood preservative, would you? Well, now you can with a clear, penetrating product called Internal Wood Stabilizer. It's 100% non-toxic and easy to apply. Seal your untreated wood surfaces, even chicken coops, by spraying on Internal Wood Stabilizer. It's invisible, seals the wood from the inside out, and never wears off. Recommended by organic gardening experts. Internal Wood Stabilizer. Check it out at timberprocoatingsusa.com. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be part of the program with us. If you want to find out more information about those sponsors, coupon codes availability, our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, under the Money tab, and the Season 10 tab for past shows and all sponsors listings. Well, honey is not just some golden-looking stuff in a bottle. It is a lot more than that, and honey in a bottle should just contain honey, but you got to look at the ingredients at some of these stores. There's more than just honey. There's, corn syrup and...
Yeah, some of them have corn syrup and stuff. And so you want to typically look for raw honey. That's more...
that is the best stuff.
It is the best stuff. Now, just not like if it doesn't say raw honey, just look at the ingredient, and then you want to see if it says like 100% pure honey, because there is... I think they call it like honey syrup or something, or honey flavored something. I don't know. Whatever they add the corn syrup
Well,
to.
honey doesn't go bad. They have found honey in tombs in Egypt that's well over 3,000 years old.
Right. So honey is, the raw honey is the best. What happens with non-raw honey is they heat it up to make it crystallize, and that destroys the flavor. It destroys the quality. And you don't want that. Now, people say, if you have honey and it did crystallize, you can heat it up, and that's okay. You can do that. It's not going to...
Set it in a pan of hot water, and it'll start to reform.
Right. That's not the worst thing. You can do that. It's not a problem. So you just want to make sure you're looking for 100% pure raw honey that is going to give you the best flavor, etc. That's what you want. There is... different types of honey, in regards to flavor, where the bees get their nectar from, etc. You might not have access to this where you live. You might not have a good variety. If you are looking for a high quality honey, you can kind of sometimes do a search on social media and look for some beekeepers in your area who sell their own honey, or you can check out like an organic food store. Those typically will have a better access to more honey options for you, or even your local farmers market.
So when you talk about honey options, this is the type of flower in which the bees are going to and bringing the material back, the pollen back, and creating different florals or fragrances or flavors with that flower, like a buckwheat. Buckwheat is
Right.
like almost a brown, almost a black syrup.
Right.
And it is so rich in flavor.
Yeah, and we will get to that. So there's polyfloral honey, which is like a blended honey where the bees are collecting from many different plants and flowers. That polyfloral honey is not going to have much of a distinct flavor, but it will still be good. It'll just have like the classic honey flavor.
And people may be thinking, well, how do you get this? There are these beekeepers specifically grow in these flower fields to create these specific mixes of honey, so they can have 4 or 5 or 6 different, and they do this over hundreds of acres in different farms to specifically get a flavor. People will cross pollinate certain roses or tomatoes or peppers to get hot peppers, for example. They keep crossing the hot peppers to get it hotter. The beekeepers are growing specific flowers to get specific formulations of honey to create different taste.
That's exactly correct. So then, so that's maybe the beekeeper, in this case with the blended polyfloral honey. Maybe they don't have a huge floral field or whatever near them. They just let the bees go do their thing, come home and make the nectar, make the honey. So then there's the monofloral, where bees get nectar from 60% of the same type of plants or same area of plants. So this can have a more distinct flavor. You might have this honey. You might buy your honey from a beekeeper and you're like, this tastes like lavender per se or whatever. And it's because they have the monofloral honey that they are getting from the bees. And things like spring, summer, fall can have varying flavors, and that makes a difference too. As like I said, the lavender honey, or say you might have something in the fall where there's something that blooms in the fall. I don't know if there's like chrysanthemum honey, but it's something to keep in mind. Spring honey, typically that would be like a more clover situation.
Now, you're not going to find these at a big box grocery store. Maybe a specialty grocery store,
right?
But more, almost 95 to 99%, you're going to have to go online and search your area for beekeepers or local honey, or you may have to have it shipped in. But here's the thing, and if you invest $50 or $100, whatever you want to, and bring in and ship in and buy some of these, you will be changed on how you appreciate honey and its flavors compared to what we've grown up with, just that yellow golden honey. Okay, that's that flavor. Okay.
Right. So back to talking about different flavors. Sometimes there can even be citrus flavors or fruit flavors, depending on where these bees are getting their nectar from. So you can, I know I've seen this orange blossom honey at the organic food store. I think it comes from like California or something. It is an option I've seen there. It might not be local to you. We're not in California, but it's just somewhere that they must ship it a lot from California.
Right.
So you can.
Some of you are from California. We got some stations in Northern California.
And then there's the dark honey, which is the buckwheat honey that I'm gonna let Joey talk about.
The buckwheat honey. Now, in our local area, there's a garden expo, and this was years ago. But there's a beekeeper that they grew, just like I mentioned earlier, different fields and placed these hives in different areas. And what did we get? A half gallon? I think that's what we got. A half gallon of a quart.
Yeah.
And you get in different varieties. They had 1 gallon jugs of this. Now that quart lasted us, oh goodness, what a full year. But if you had a sore throat, it was like medicine. It was medicine. And we're not a physician, and we don't play one on TV. But it changed how your sore throat acted and felt. You felt like a totally different person after you had hot buckwheat honey compared to the store-bought honey that's raw, just the regular golden honey. Absolutely unique in how it changed your throat and how you felt.
Yeah, and we got some of this information from America's Test Kitchen because they do a lot of research on different foods and everything like that. And when they were doing the honey tasting, I forget her name, but she was talking about the buckwheat honey.
One of the chefs.
Yeah, one of the chefs. She was talking about the buckwheat honey and how it had this like complex, bold flavor. She said she didn't want to compare it to molasses or maple syrup, but it had like that really like thick, heavy, hearty flavor.
Right.
And I agree with the
But
it
does.
It's almost
the
like
flavor notes are. It has the same velocity of like molasses, but
thicker.
the flavor notes are completely opposite.
Yeah. But that's what she was comparing, like the thickness of the molasses. And then also, just like, dark chocolate has like a heavier, bolder taste as opposed to milk chocolate. It's kind of that comparison where you're just getting that. I don't want to say bitter because it's not.
No, it's not bitter. No, it's
just like
an off sweet.
Yeah, just like a bolder flavor, and it was really good, and it was
with that buckwheat honey. It got to the point that we had to put it in water and warm it up,
right?
Because it did start to crystallize. Because I mean, a quart of honey, you're not burning through. It's not like a bottle of Coca-Cola. It takes a while to go through any quantity of honey. But the buckwheat absolutely was a phenomenal. And I don't remember, there was at least a half dozen other types of flavors in that particular expo with him.
Yeah, he was a very expert beekeeper. So then there's also creamed honey, which
what is this? What is
you'll see this at the store. It looks like a really pale yellow color and it's thicker. And typically people who make honey will do this by they either whip the honey so much that it becomes this creamed honey, or they'll mix in some crystallized honey so that it becomes that thick. So
they're kind of putting air into it in some instant to get it a lighter, kind of like when you whip whipped cream.
Right.
You're getting air and then finally it kind of gets stiff peaks.
Right.
And you're like, that's where we want it.
Right.
Okay.
And it's made by whipping the honey. And a lot of people will use this, more on baked goods like scones or toast or biscuits, what have you, because it's a little bit more spreadable, a little bit easier to.
And probably with the air in it, it does. It's not such a slap in the taste buds. It's more of a soft to the palate.
Yeah, and like, again, it's good on the scones and things like that. So something that might be an option for you. Yeah, biscuits. If you are like, sick of getting honey all over your counter, this might be something easier for you.
Yeah. Well, also something that we want to do is keep the dirt, the garden, the salt, the mud out of our house, out of our cabin, out of our place of residence. And we can do that with an American-made product.
Yes, Scrusher Deluxe Shoe and Boot Cleaner. They have the Big Boot model. And so this is for your larger, heavier, heavy-duty boots, and that way, so if you maybe need a better cleaner for your shoe, your outdoor shoe cleaner, Scrusher is the outdoor shoe cleaner, is a shoe brush station that is built with a weather-resistant steel frame and black UV powder coated finish for year-round outdoor use. You can attach it to something or just keep it outside. Just take your boot, put it through, and it gets all that mud, slush, dirt, what have you. User-friendly, great. So if you go to scrusher.com and put the code NOMOREDIRT5, you get 5% off and free shipping at checkout.
Hang out with us. Podcaster and author Jill McSheehy will be with us.
You're tuned into the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now 1-800-927-SHOW.
Say goodbye to weeds. Easily remove them, roots and all, with the unique design of the Cobra-Head Hand Cultivator, recognized as the world's leading hand weeding tool. Simple design, lightweight, made from forged tempered steel for easy extraction of weeds, plant seeds, rows, and more. Visit CobraHead.com and use coupon code SOIL for 10% off your order at CobraHead.com. Coupon code valid 1 per customer.
Get in your garden with Diggs. From gardening gloves to accessories, storage, organization, and more, Diggs products combines form and function with a splash of fashion and are ideal for women who possess a passion for plants and enjoy harnessing the beauty of nature. Steeped in color and pattern, Diggs gloves are inspired by nature and are designed to protect your most valuable assets, your hands. Get your Diggs on at diggsgardening.com, the Home Depot, Amazon, and search for it by name, D-I-G-Z, diggsgardening.com.
Stop poisoning your soil. Green Grow is different from most garden brands because we do not rely on chemical shortcuts. We use beneficial biology and organic inputs to rebuild soil naturally, so your garden gets healthier every year, not dependent on more products. Stronger plants, fewer problems, better food. Check out our complete line of organic fertilizers and potting soils today. Visit thegreengrow.com and breathe life into your soil. That's TheGreenGrow.com. Check us out on Instagram as well at The Green Grow.
Transform your exterior wood surfaces with Rubio Monocoat's new DuraGrit. DuraGrit delivers rugged protection and rich color for decks, siding, pergolas, planter boxes, and all outside wood surfaces. Say goodbye to multiple coats thanks to DuraGrit's incredible patented one-layer technology. Enjoy a vibrant, durable color that won't peel or flake even in the harshest conditions. Rubio Monocoat DuraGrit is tomorrow's UV protection for exterior wood. For every order, Rubio Monocoat USA will plant a tree at a U.S. planting site. Get 10% off DuraGrit when using code Joey at checkout. Learn more at RubioMonocoatUSA.com. Make watering easy. DripWorks provides quality drip irrigation supplies and equipment to gardeners just like you for all your growing needs across the U.S. and Canada. Purchase online at DripWorks.com.
Get higher yields with durable green bed raised garden bed kits designed to be drainable, breathable, pest resistant, and long-lasting. DurableGreenBed.com. Abundance guaranteed. Jung Seed Company is a family-owned and operated gardening company since 1907 with the largest selection of seeds and plants online. Use coupon code 15TG26 to save 15% off your order at jungseed.com. That's JUNGSEED.com. Save your back. Easily and quickly remove trees and shrubs from your property with the Weed Wrench. Find it at weed-wrench.com. Made in the USA. Use coupon code JOEY to save $10 off your Weed Wrench at weed-wrench.com. Soil Diva Liquid Microbe Stimulant Spray improves the health of your plants you work hard to grow. Stimulates the natural enzymes and increases beneficial soil bacteria. Go to soildiva.net. Use coupon code RADIO15 to get 15% off your order at soildiva.net. Welcome back to the Garden with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy to have you along with us. Before we go to the hotline and bring in our guest, Jill McSheehy, we got to go and talk about our good friends at scrubbysoap.com.
Yeah, Scrubby Soap has a built-in scrubber, no sponge needed. It's a natural soap with the built-in scrubber. It's perfect for everyone, whether you're getting greasy, dirty,
Do you have dirty hands? Do your kids have dirty hands?
Painting, yeah, all sorts of stuff. Artists and painters, gardeners, removes dirt, soap, sap, mechanics, anybody. You can even clean your paintbrushes with it. It's got the built-in scrubber.
All in one.
All in one. And it uses citrus oil, so it's not any harmful chemicals. You can get 10% off your order by using the code SOAP at checkout at scrubbysoap.com.
Holly, let's go to the hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
Jill McSheehy is a gardener, writer, blogger, author, and has a passion for teaching others how to garden. She lives in Arkansas with her husband, children, and pets and chickens. Welcome to the program, Jill.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we appreciate you taking time out of your day, not only to educate Holly and myself, but all of our listeners. And I'll start with this. You're all about helping new gardeners to be successful. And in your experience, what is something that a new gardener has told you, hey, I'm doing this, that made you cringe, and then you said, hey, you got to stop that because of this reason?
Yeah, there's a lot of examples, but I would say the most recent one was just brought to my attention last week. I was having a conference call, and someone told me they were getting ready to put new soil in their raised beds, and they got a whole lot of horse manure that they were going to use. And that makes me really nervous because unless a horse has been fed organic feed, specifically organic hay, it's very possible that manure can be contaminated with herbicides that will completely destroy the garden. And I've had so many people that's happened with, and they've been very frustrated because they haven't been able to get a good harvest. But then worse than that, they've had to completely take out that soil and start all over again. And it's just something that you don't want to experience, especially as a new gardener, because a lot of times you don't know why. You just think you're a terrible gardener, but you don't realize that unless they've been fed organic hay, it could very well be contaminated with persistent herbicides.
And Joe Lample, former host of PBS's Growing Green World, experienced that with that killer compost, and people can experience that with weed and feed if they're composting their grass clippings.
Yes, both of those could be an issue.
All right. So what is a piece of information you've gathered from a gardener that you wish you had known 5-10 years ago that has just completely changed the way you garden?
I remember when I walked over to a friend's house. She lived locally, and she had this amazing garden. And I had a huge garden at the time, too, but I was still fairly new. And I was just watching what she was doing in her space, and I noticed that she trellised her tomatoes in a way I'd never seen before. She had a flat cattle panel, and the cattle panel was affixed to T-post, but it wasn't flush with the ground. It was probably 2 or 3 feet high. And these tomatoes were growing really tall. She had clipped them to the cattle panel. I can't even remember if she pruned them very much, but I remember at that time in my gardening, I was always looking for, like, what's the best way to do this, or what's the right way to do that? And I had been growing tomatoes for a while and had used different types of trellising, but just seeing that unique way of trellising tomatoes from someone who had been gardening a lot longer than me, to me, gave me the message that, hey, it's okay to do different things than other people do, and it's okay to experiment. And I felt like it gave me the freedom to be able to do something that might not have been the most popular advice on Pinterest at the time, or on YouTube, or online. And it gave me the freedom to experiment. And because I've done that in a lot of different ways, I have been able to learn things that work that I may not have ever learned if I hadn't been willing to try and experiment with something different.
Yeah, I think a lot of gardeners are put in this box, oh, I saw it on TV, or I saw it on my favorite YouTuber, so that must be the only way that we can do it. And I don't want to get out of the box and ruffle anybody or make anybody upset.
Yeah, for sure.
Whenever you're growing your tomatoes, with you being in Arkansas, people assume Arkansas is a much, much warmer climate during the summer than some of us in the northern portions of the United States. How do you combat that heat deal, or do you just let the plants do what they do?
Well, the biggest thing for me is to get them planted early. I know this is good advice for some climates that, don't get a rush to get your tomatoes in. But with tomatoes in particular, we've kind of got to get them in right around that average last frost date so that they will be able to produce their biggest harvest before it gets too hot, when the humidity and the heat make it where they don't perform. But even with that, during the heat, the main thing is just to keep them watered and keep them, healthy, so that when the heat abates as we go into the fall, they can start producing again. But then also with that humidity, you've got disease. So I have to be careful not to plant them too close together. And I used to not prune at all, but now I've started to prune a little bit more selectively so that I can get more airflow between the stems, which may not be an issue for someone in a non-humid climate, but for my climate, that's really important.
Fantastic. So, tell us about your book, the Vegetable Gardening for Beginners, a simple guide to growing vegetables at home. What people can expect when they pick up a copy. Just give us a little synopsis.
Yeah, my passion has always been to help gardeners who are beginning be able to start their gardening journey without feeling like they have this really steep on-ramp. I'm just wanting to make that on-ramp a little bit easier. And that book is designed with the beginner in mind who's never gardened before, because that was me 13 years ago. I had no idea what I was doing, and I was reading all these books, and it was kind of difficult to learn because I felt like everything else I was learning was assumed a garden knowledge that I didn't have. And so this book doesn't assume any previous gardening knowledge, but it gets you started out with the basic questions that you might need to answer. And then at the end, it's like the second half of the book, we've got crop-specific growing guides that give you guides on exactly how to grow different crops so that you have confidence moving forward.
So 13 years ago, where was that aha moment that you said, hey, I'm going to learn to garden? Because we have listeners that don't garden that are like, I've always heard this gardening thing, or I remember grandma do it or mom do it. I don't know if I want to get into it. What got you into the gardening hobby?
Yeah, I was working a full-time job, 45, 50 hours a week, and I decided to stay home with my kids. They were 6 and 2 at the time, and gardening was a way that I could contribute to the grocery bill. And I know now, with food prices so high, a lot of people are gardening for a similar reason, to try to cut their grocery bill. That's how I got started, but then I just fell in love with it. It became my hobby. When my kids were little, it became something just for me. And now that my kids are 19 and 15 and they have their own lives, I get to, I still have the gardening that's just for me, that allows me to not only cut the grocery bill and not only feed our family, healthier and more delicious vegetables, but also just have that enjoyable hobby that is really helpful, especially when it comes to mental health and just getting outside and moving your body and so many other great things that gardening does for you that I didn't even anticipate when I first started.
And it's not applicable for everybody, but your hobby kind of turned into a business.
It did, yes. Mainly with my desire of, this is amazing. I want everybody else to know how to do it. Even if they don't do it at the scale that I do it, there's still such value in even a small garden of having the benefits of your own fresh vegetables and herbs and the benefit of getting outside.
Now, you have a podcast. It's called the Beginner's Garden Podcast. What can people expect? Do you have guests on? What are some of the topics in which you cover that can help our listeners in their garden?
Yes, the Beginner's Garden Podcast is in its 10th season, and the purpose is for every episode to have information that will meet a beginning gardener where they are, but also help people who have been gardening for a few years to garden better. And there's a mix of solo episodes where I just teach a concept, but we also have guests from time to time that talk about more niche topics that they have obviously better information or better knowledge than I do. So we have a little bit of a mix, but the purpose is to meet every gardener where they're at and hopefully be able to help people garden more in the space that they have over more seasons of the year, not just the summer garden, but a focus really is to grow in spring, summer, and fall.
So we're in spring now, and a lot of people are starting their gardens or getting ready to. What are some of your best tips to get a better start in the spring?
I think a big thing, and this especially applies to beginners, is understand that different crops thrive in different weather conditions. A lot of times first-time gardeners just think about the typical like tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers type garden. But in order to grow other things like lettuce and broccoli and carrots, you've got to understand that lettuce is going to want completely different conditions than peppers do. And in my garden, they typically don't grow at the same time. So understand when crops actually thrive. And then also know your climate, know when your average last frost date is, and know if you get hot in the summer like we do in Arkansas, or if you don't. And then right now, this time of year in March, our average last frost date isn't until April, but a lot of my cool season crops are going in right now. And even though I might have a date that I have scheduled to plant something, I'm always watching the weather and I'm looking at that 10-day forecast, because right now we're in a very mild period. So I'm wanting to get all of my broccoli and cabbage and carrots and peas in the ground. But if we were going to go into like 20s tomorrow, I wouldn't want to do that yet. So even if the calendar says to plant now, look at your forecast and see, is this going to be the best time to get these plants in the ground, or do I need to wait just a little bit?
Yeah, we always hear stories, and you see them on social media that, it's 80 degrees today and tomorrow, and then it comes snow, and people's already trying to plant things tomorrow, and they have issues there.
Every year.
We appreciate you coming on the program. Jill, how can people find more about you? How can they get a hold of your book, find your podcast, interact with you?
Yes, if you're a podcast listener, you can look for the Beginner's Garden podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. I also have a YouTube channel where I show more of what's going in my garden, and that's the Beginner's Garden, Journey with Jill. And then if you're a reader, you can go to journeywithjill.net to take a look at my website.
Well, Jill, thank you so much for the time you've offered Holly, myself, and all of our listeners, and we wish you the best on your garden this year.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And when we return, it's going to be time for your garden questions and our garden answers.
You're tuned into the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Mantis garden tiller cultivators are the perfect solution for any garden. With their gas-powered 2-cycle or 4-cycle engine, these powerful machines can till 9 or 16 inches of land without you breaking a sweat. And it doesn't stop there. Mantis's optional attachments allow you to aerate, plow, and more with the snap of a finger. Engineered with durability in mind, Mantis tiller cultivators will be your guaranteed garden companion for a long time. You can find more out and details at mantis.com.
Goodbye biting bugs and plant invaders. No More Bugs by Naturally Green Products is your answer. No More Bugs is DEET-free and not sticky on your skin. USDA certified, No More Bugs has been a favorite by consumers across the country for over 14 years. More than a repellent, it is safe for you, your plants, pets, and home. Available online at nomorebugs.net, Amazon, Walmart.com, and the Home Shopping Network.
Check out ivorganics.com. It's America's leading garden product YouTube channel. IV Organic products are innovative, organic, effective, and proudly USA made to help you achieve your best growing season. Use coupon code RADIO10 at checkout and save 10% on your entire order at ivorganics.com. That coupon code again is RADIO10 to save 10% on your order at ivorganics.com. Visit JankoGreenhouse.com to improve your garden today. Janko builds the strongest greenhouses on the market, large and small, guaranteed to meet or exceed your building codes, offering a lifetime warranty since 1948. Visit JankoGreenhouse.com. Soon it'll be warming up, and you will want to make sure you enjoy your yard without sharing it with those beetles and grubs.
With spring just around the corner, it's time to start thinking about controlling beetles and grubs in your garden or yard.
Grub Gun can be applied directly to the turf or garden and around ornamentals to control the grubs to lessen the impact the beetles have on your yard this summer. Easy to use. Apply with a commercial spreader and irrigate it right into the soil. Biological that specifically targets grubs and beetles, invaders, without harming those beneficial insects such as bees, butterflies, and ladybugs.
And to be honest, it's the only non-chemical that works. Find out more at BeetleGone.com. Pomona's Universal Pectin is a high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar or honey to sweeten. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PpomonaPectin.com. Also available at natural food stores and online.
Ever feel like you have to cover up just to enjoy your backyard? If you're tired of swatting mosquitoes while you're trying to relax or work in the garden, there's a smarter approach. Biogen's mosquito traps use proven attractants designed to specifically target mosquitoes, helping reduce bites around the yard all season long. They're tough on mosquitoes and don't harm bees and butterflies, so you can protect yourself and still protect your pollinators. Rethink mosquito control. Take a look at biogens.com. That's BIOGENTS.com.
Wind River Chimes will always be the inspiring harmony. With a large selection and customization options, you will find the sound that soothes you. Visit windriverchimes.com to shop and find out more.
Welcome back to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy to have you along. Thank you so much for being part of this program today and joining us. Want to find more information out about the sponsors you've heard, their coupon code availability, our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com underneath the Money tab for coupon codes and the Season 10 tab for all past shows and all listings of companies that support the program. It's time for your garden questions and our garden answers. Send them on over to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com, or give us a call toll free coast to coast at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469.
All right. So we had a question come in. Can you cut off a runner to transplant before it has formed roots? Will it still thrive and form roots? In my opinion, in my mind, I figure it has to stay attached to the adult plant until the roots have formed.
You
can. No,
you want to wait. The daughter plant is going to have an umbilical cord, and that is going to provide the energy for that daughter plant, which is another strawberry plant. Not all strawberry plants produce runners or daughter plants. So once that daughter plant begins to develop roots, it will attach itself to the soil wherever it's at. And at that point, once it's got roots, you can go ahead and cut that runner or that umbilical cord, for lack of a better term, and then dig that strawberry plant up, that daughter plant, and maneuver it wherever you want. We rebuilt our strawberry bed 10 years ago by just doing that with daughter plants. And we had strawberry plants will last between 5 and 7 years is kind of the peak run of them, and they really fall off. And we had them in an area where the grasses took over the bed. But for a couple of years, we were getting in the bed, I think the bed we had, about 15 feet wide by about 12, 15 feet long, something like that. We had enough for 2 years that it equated what we would normally go to the pick your own farm to get on strawberries. So you got to wait for the daughter plants to develop roots and then dig them up and maneuver them. What also you can do if you want to, and I've done this and it's worked well, you can find this at our parent website, video of it under the search bar, strawberry runners. You can take party cups or seed trays, and if you see that daughter plant, you can kind of take it and put it over or inside of that party cup, kind of pinch it down with a stick, and it will grow into the party cup or into the seed cell, into the potting mix you've got. And then once it attaches its roots to the soil, go ahead and cut it, and then you can transplant it wherever you want. We built some strawberry patch for your sister by doing that as well.
Absolutely. All right. So next question is, I have a bunch of seed packets that say packed for 2025 and sell by 11/25. Are they still good? Should I toss and get new? No. Especially because sell by 11/2025, it's only been, the best by date is 4 months ago?
Right. And the reason why they do this, and this is something to do with the United States Department of Agriculture, with seed corporations, seed companies, that you have to, the date in which the seed goes in, it has to be sold by the end of that calendar year, whatever the date, like 2025. What some of these seed companies will do is, at that point, if they are not able to sell the seeds off by that time in which it's dated, they either have to toss them, but what most of them do is they donate them to schools, to food pantries, whatever that is. And then I assume, and I'm not a lawyer and I don't know this, but I assume that they would write that off on their taxes as a donation.
Yeah, probably.
But it has no effect on you whatsoever. We are still growing tomato seeds from packages that were
2017,
almost 10 years ago. And this next question will reference what I'm about to say, so we'll ask the question here and then finish my thought from the previous question.
Okay. Which seeds need to be purchased every year? Read something last year and thought I need to replace those and forgot which ones.
So there is seeds that have a shorter shelf life. For example, leeks, onions, parsnips are 3 different varieties that typically have a lifespan of 1 to 2 years. Beyond that, the success of germination greatly falls off. The rule of thumb with seed packets is, if it says it was manufactured in, let's say, 2020, and we're in 2026, you lose 10% of the overall chances or viability of that seed to germinate every year. So if you've got 6 years, you've lost 60%. You've got a 40% chance of that seed actually germinating. Now, that doesn't mean that that's a hard number. You could have 70 or 80%. It also determines on how you store these seeds. Are you storing them in a plastic tub in the trunk of your car because you're going to the garden because it's not at your residence? You're going to a community garden. You forgot and left them out there all summer and the car gets 118 degrees, that type of. Or are you keeping them in a crisper of a fridge? You're keeping them cool. You're keeping them in a nice climatized environment. That all determines the longevity and the viability of these seeds. Seeds like beans or pumpkins or squashes, they can last 4, 5, 6 years. And tomatoes, if kept in the right condition, can last about 9 years. So it all depends. There's many charts online. Cross-reference your charts. Just don't go with the first one you see. Look at 3 or 4, and if they all kind of average out to be 3 to 5 years, that's what it is. I mentioned parsnips. They're like 1 to 2 years. We had parsnips grow one year and it went to seed, which it's like a palm tree. It looks like, and they're parsnips. We saved those seeds and they were like 5 years old, and I just dumped them all in the garden just to get rid of them, and like all of them came up. So
I remember that. Yeah.
It just looked like a field of clover. So that's not always the rule of thumb, but be aware that some seeds are not going to do as well. I'm dealing with that right now. We had some leek seeds from 2020 that we're trying to, not have to go buy seeds, but they're not doing so well. So we're going to have to purchase leek seeds because we've utilized all the ones that we saved, waited too long, that whole thing. So there you go. More information than you probably need to know, but you got it anyway.
All right. Zone 5, I covered my garden in a nice layer of maple leaves over the winter. Should I just turn them into the soil or pull them off to compost them? This would only be spots where I don't have anything going over the winter, like garlic, etc. You can leave them and use them to let them do their mulch thing, which they're going to break down
slower because they're full size maple leaf. Yeah.
So they make a great mulch. You can leave them as is, and then you just plant around them or push them aside and plant. Or you can turn them into the soil, but I would personally just leave them as mulch. Yeah, they'll break down.
By June or July, you'll never know that you had any mulch there whatsoever of leaves, especially. And when we did it, and when we do it, we actually mound 2 to 3 foot tall, like windrows of leaves on top of our raised beds. And by June, they're gone. It's all broke down. The worms, the microbial life, all that stuff breaks that stuff down, and natural progression of composting of the leaves does that as well. So I would agree, do not rip them or tear them under or till them under. Just go ahead and move back and cover them up. Now, there are some people, and you may be that individual, that you cover your garden with leaves beyond what anybody thinks should be, and you religiously each spring till that under to add material beneath, into the soil, into the garden. Some people say you're wrong. Other people say you're right. If it works for you and you're not harming, it's not, you're not seeing a negative effect to that, which microbial life, we know tilling the soil can hurt, but if it works for you, continue to do it.
Right on.
Last year, I put new raised beds in and bought bulk soil from my garden center. The weeds in the raised beds were horrendous. With knowing that the soil was that bad that I bought in, what do I do this year? I was going to top off the beds with some fresh compost, but will the weeds just come back exactly the way they were last year? Anything I can do to the soil this spring?
That's frustrating. I would call the garden center and let them know.
Well, okay, number one, there's not enough information. Is the weeds coming up through the actual native soil because there was not enough of a cardboard or weed barrier? Or is it actually from the soil that you got from the garden center? Either way, because we put cardboard down. When we built our raised beds, we put cardboard down. And we had such a thistle problem for the first year and a half until we continued to pull them out, cut them off, stress them out, that the thistles disappeared. In a raised bed, regardless of the kind of soil you have, you can have the best soil your money can buy, your state can produce, the whole deal. You're still going to have weeds. This is not a weed-free garden. Yes, you will probably have lesser weeds, but again, you've got to remember that the air blows, birds fly over. There is going to be a certain amount of seed that falls into your garden. Now, keeping on top of this on a regular basis, eventually will limit the amount of weeds that are in the garden. Most of us probably don't have that kind of time to devote X amount of time per day or X amount of time per week to go in and weed to make sure it looks like PBS is going to come out and do a story on your garden for a Saturday morning show. It just is not the reality of most of our time in our life that we have to devote to that.
Right. And yeah, and Joy makes some good points. The weeds will come back, but you can keep pulling them, and it doesn't matter. It will help to pull them, especially when they are smaller.
When they're smaller,
Yes.
and after it's rained.
Absolutely. So you can top it off with some fresh compost. I would probably make sure I'm sourcing an organic compost. I would source an organic compost, and yeah, unfortunately, Joy had mentioned, weeds are kind of unavoidable, especially in a raised bed. It's just something that's going to happen.
Well, we were out of time, and we thank you for yours. Missed any portion of the program today or would like to revisit it, you can certainly do such by going to our favorite website, our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, and clicking on the Season 10 tab at the top of the page. You can find all past seasons, all 10 seasons, 9 plus this season, all documented in video and podcast form. Tune in the program next week where we'll be discussing springtime seed saving, as well as 5 crops you may not known you can grow in your garden, as well as author and Garden Talk radio host Charles Nardozzi will be with us and will answer your garden questions. So until next week, for
Holly Baird,
I'm Joy Barrett, and we will see you in the garden.